Welcome back and welcome to our first session of the next masterclass or the third day of the next normal. Together with us, we have today Alexey Cherchago with his new position at Glenmark, right? So, hi, Alexey, how are you?
Hi, Dario. Hi, pleasure to be here today with you. Yes, I'm good. Thanks a lot. How are
As
you?
usual, the pleasure is on our side as well. Then we
Thank you.
have Alexandra McCarthy. Hi, Alexandra, how are you?
We're really well, thank you. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
Fantastic. And the third speaker, Adela Schulz, and she is facing some technical issues, but I'm confident she will be with us very, very soon. So the session title of today of this panel is a very creative one and a very concrete one, which is 5 key tips to improve paid media in Pharma's digital ecosystem. So which means we expect exactly five tips, which in pharma is not so usual, as we all know, because in many ways, sometimes we are speaking just in theory, but not in a pragmatic way. And first of all, I would like to kick off the discussion with the question, what do you mean under paid media? Because in most cases, my understanding is that we only think about the billboards, about radio, TV, the traditional media, right? But let's speak so openly and frankly. So, what should be considered as paid media, and which is the most essential one in the nowadays marketing mix of a modern pharma company? And maybe we can start with you, Alexandra.
Oh, thanks. That's a great question to start with as well. And I think really it requires us to redefine what we mean by our channels. So thinking about not just the top of the funnel, which we used to think about when we talked about paid media, we really had an awareness goal in mind most of the time, which is why things like our radio and our TV and our banners made sense. But, these days we need to be thinking about the journey that a customer is on all the way through the marketing funnel, through the consideration phase, where we might see things like native content starting to appear, or search, for example, starting to appear, and podcasts and all of the other things that we are now able to sponsor and to pay to have airtime associated with. And then obviously down towards the bottom of the funnel, when we're talking about conversion, we will see new channels popping in there in terms of paid as well. So I think it's really about understanding that our customers are on a journey. They sometimes take that journey very, very quickly all the way to the bottom of the funnel. And paid can play a role in really making sure that people are moving through that funnel as quickly as we can possibly get them there.
Thanks a lot, Alexandra. Alexey.
Look, it was a really, really great answer. And honestly, for me, when we are talking about this topic, paid media, right, it's probably external marketing activities which are driven by sponsored placement, right? And thinking about this topic, for me, there are exactly like you, Dario, there are two big groups, right? There are conventional examples like television commercials, I don't know, print ads, billboards, right? And there is a kind of a category of digital marketing, so to say, where we are talking about social networks like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, our LinkedIn, right?
TikTok.
Platforms to share content, right? For example, video in, I don't know, for example, in YouTube. And for sure, one special category when we are talking about search engines, right? Like, I don't know, all these things around Google Ads, for example. These are two big groups. How I can how I'm thinking about paid media now.
Thanks a lot. In my opinion, the communication mix and the marketing mix should be aligned with the audience expectation, right? And sometimes I have the impression that we don't know or don't want to hear the expectations from the audience, especially in pharma. So my next question would be how to deal with a new expectation model, because we see a new emerging generation coming on the market, and they are communicating, thinking in a radical different way. So my question would be how to deal with these new expectations from HCPs, because HCPs are also getting younger, right? And at the end of the day, from patients, and how to reach out to them in the brave new world. So let's start with you, Alexey, this time.
Dario, the question is great, and actually this is not the first time when we are discussing this topic, because Probably last 7-8 years, we are talking in quite intensively around customer centricity, and this is without expectations. It does make sense. Look, we try to be practical today. Therefore, the first element from my side is to ensure that traditional push communication channels, or push activities, they're extended or maybe accompanied with infrastructure for pull customer interactions, including ACP portals, relevant content, social media, and so on. Right? This is it sounds simple, but in practice, it's not so easy to achieve. Then, when we are talking about content and paid media, this social media element is quite interesting for me for the moment. There are a lot of constraints, right? Therefore, we should think about content beyond brands. Think around company news, information about upcoming events, interesting posts with papers, ebooks. This is something which attractive and actually can help us to be connected to our customers, right? These are two elements actually which can help to ensure reach. This is what I can put on the table for the moment.
Certainly. Maybe just to add, in addition, at least in my opinion, I think that this gap between the new generation, which is onboarding to the market, and the current generation and the old generation, that we never had such big a gap like nowadays in terms of expectations, because the new generation of people entering in the labor market, they are doing TikToks, paying in NFTs, paying in crypto, and so on. And certainly, I think that even Pharma, if they don't want to adapt to this new environment, then certainly someone will, right? And this leads me now to you, Alexandra. How do you see this particular ecosystem which might change in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. The channels are completely different, and even the way that they are training, if you're talking about Gen Z, who are our new doctors and pharmacists and nurses coming into the market, they've been trained in mixed reality. So their expectation is quite high that we will innovate and that we'll find new ways to engage with them. Even the way that they search is changing. So we're seeing a really big rise in voice search and visual search. And we need to think about that as brands and as companies. And I think Alexey is exactly right. It really boils down to not assuming that we know what these people want and need, and really doing the work and to understand where they're at, what they're trying to achieve, and what's getting in the way of them doing that at the moment. The channels, as you said before, are completely different. Our patients are forming their own micro communities on Reddit and in Twitch and in a bunch of new social channels that didn't exist 5-10 years ago. So we need to follow these people. We need to find out where they are, where they're having these conversations that are relevant to our products, to our brands. And we need to find ways to engage with people and deliver what they need. And to Alexey's point, it's absolutely about having some pull content available, because, we sometimes are guilty, I think, in advertising and marketing of drinking the Kool-Aid and thinking that everyone's as interested in our products as we are and thinks they're as great as we do. Yeah. And we need to find that middle ground. We need to work out what they need from us, what gaps they might have in their knowledge, and how we can be as relevant as we possibly can be. It really matters.
Certainly. So what do you see then as the key pillars of a robust media strategy? Let's start with you, Alexey.
Look, I would say, first of all, to emphasize, Alex mentioned relevance. I think this is the key. As long as we are relevant, then it's possible to establish good relationship. It's possible to interact efficiently and so on, right? Key pillars, right? First of all, this is, so to say, new area for us. Therefore, the first element from my perspective, we should be informed about legal regulations, and because different platforms have completely different requirements. This is probably assumed, but it is new area for us, and we need to invest our time to understand how to operate in this space. The second one maybe some trivial definition of target audience, but it's not so easy when we are talking about, again, a new space where we are operating. For sure, here we should expand segmentation approaches, all these digital behavioral dimensions should be part of this element. Another element, I think, it's for sure content, which should be appropriately modified for selected platform. Images, photos, video, text, it should be done properly, and then it's probably one of the dimensions of relevance. And target groups, personalization, right? Customer centricity. It is to be, it's about relevance, therefore appropriate personalization should be in place. I mentioned this expansion of segmentation. One additional element is, again, it's a bit tricky, it's a bit technical, but we need to identify proper measurements to track relevance, and the customer satisfaction around delivered content. If these technical elements are not in place, we are not able to ensure consistency of our relevance, so to say.
Certainly. One additional question, which is quite in parallel with something what I heard yesterday, and this is that maybe AI is still in a very early phase in pharma because we don't have external data scientists who are very skilled at data science, machine learning algorithms, and that we are rather seeking for internal industry experts who we then train. What do you think, in your opinion, how this would, for instance, be in comparison with the digital or marketing sphere? If it would bring in external experts, would it be much more impactful than in case if you use internal industry experts working in pharma for more than 20 plus years and so on? Do we need fresh faces in the industry from outside the industry, or is it due to something else? Alexandra?
Oh, great question. And I think there is already so much, when we're talking about particularly paid media, there's already so much AI available to us that I don't know that we need to in-house it. Potentially, it may be more effective and efficient to use the AI that's available through platforms like Google, who are switching to responsive search as of June 2022, which people need to be aware of. So the way that we construct search ads is going to have to change. We're going to have to find a way, to Alexey's point earlier, of working that through regulatory, because it is going to be a challenge. And when you think about strategies like programmatic media buying and the amount of machine learning that happens using a strategy like that for remarketing and retargeting, tapping into the DMPs, the data management platforms that are out there, and the demand side platforms, they're all run by AI. So I feel there is a lot of AI available to us already from external partners within the paid media space. Maybe a different question when you're starting to look at segmenting and diving deeper on owned data, first-party data. I think potentially new blood is probably welcome there when you're talking about really mining your own data sets. But I think, it differs obviously from company to company and country to country, but I think we're still getting good at generating and curating our first-party data. So it may be a bit premature right now, but in a year or two, definitely would be something to be considering. And we're already seeing some of our clients, for example, bringing in data scientists or asking us if we can recommend great data scientists for them to work with.
External data scientists, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but what about external marketeers? Would that make sense for our industry, or it's too niche, too special compared to other industries?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I always like the tension between the people who've been in pharma forever and the people who are completely new to pharma and have a totally different perspective on what's possible and what should be done. I think that's how we move forward. That tension is a good thing. It can be challenging for the people who are having to navigate some of the issues that it creates with regulatory teams, for example, or getting people comfortable internally with that change and the change management that needs to go around these approaches. But I think it is a good thing to have a little bit of challenge, a bit of fresh thinking coming in, because there are lots and lots of people within pharma companies who have a great deal of experience. They can add the layer of this is not possible but what about, what if we did this, when they're presented with new ideas. So I think you can have best of both worlds there.
Thank you, Alexandra. Alexey, your opinion, especially since you're coming from consultants, right? I think that you can give some good insight.
The question is great. I've never thought about this because, you know, we are using outsourcing of customer-facing activities for a couple of decades, right? This is standard model in our industry. I can hardly agree more with Alex that at least now, I would rather use externals to support, actually to take over all technicalities, AI technicalities. Data scientists, I think it's perfectly fine. Marketeers, right? This is a great question. I think that this is a kind of heart of the whole iteration. And the question from my side is actually consolidation of insights, consolidation of information around improving knowledge about our customers, because overall success of the whole exercise is about understanding, you know, understanding what are the expectations, how to be fully aligned with customer expectations. And this is, it's tricky because I think that all big things are already done now, and now we need to be here and there, and to ensure sustainability, to ensure continuity of iteration in the short-term perspective, I would challenge this proposal. Yeah. However, I can imagine that maybe because we can outsource transactional pieces, right? I'm not sure that share of transactional activities in current marketing organization is pretty high. But this is the really interesting perspective, Dario. I would love to get more insights if we have this in the market. It's really interesting. Right?
Thanks a lot. So we promise to be as concrete as possible. So that's why I have a very specific and very concrete question. And this is concrete tips how to implement the proper media strategy. Who would like to go first with this very tough question?
I can go first. I think get the fundamentals right would be my advice to everyone. I think really nailing down your objective for paid media, where it fits within your broader omnichannel strategy, is something that people don't always get right, and really critically thinking about that. So, you know, if you come to me and you say, I've got 60 or 70% awareness, but I want to run an awareness campaign, I'd like all of my paid media to go into awareness channels, I'm going to challenge you on that, because it feels like there's a missed opportunity. You don't necessarily understand or have thought about where your customers are in the marketing funnel, and that potentially we may need to look at strategies further down the funnel to really get the results that you want to get for the year. So I'd encourage people to be very critical in their thinking about their objective for paid media and get that right up front, because everything else hangs off it. And if you get it wrong, then you're wasting your money. I think the second element that I'd encourage everyone to think about is back to the data point, right? What do you want to get out of this campaign? So there's going to be performance metrics against KPIs that will always be reported. But on top of that, what do you want to know about your customers? And to Alexey's point, do we want to have an intent survey pre and post exposure to paid media assets, for example? Or, you know, do we need to know more about an audience or find lookalikes? You know, what data do you need to generate off the back of your campaign? Do you have the consent rate that you want? Do you need to build some lead generation strategies into your plan? Knowing that upfront will help you choose the right strategies. I'd say also your message really matters, and having that mapped across, again, the different phases of the funnel is really, really important. We see time and again in marketing and advertising studies that at the top of the funnel, fame is what drives the greatest big business effect. So things like share and sales, profit, loyalty, all of those really big business effects come from fame. So creative campaigns that stand out to people and grab attention are important at the top of the funnel. But as we keep moving through the funnel, personalization, relevance really are the things that are going to drive engagement. So really, really important thing to be doing. And all of that, of course, requires, as Alexey rightly pointed out a few times, a really great understanding of our customers. So we can't assume that we know everything about them. We have to always be critical about any knowledge gaps that we might have and find new ways to close them. So, you know, if we need to go out, for example, and mine third-party data and use that as our starting point in order to get insights about where our customers are active online, which might be surprising to us. They might be in channels that we had never thought about. I think that's also a foundational piece to get right in order to, you know, make a paid strategy that works for you and drives results.
Thanks a lot, Alexey.
Look, a lot of good points, and maybe two additional elements which are definitely in line with what I've already mentioned. The first one is push and pull touch points should be an integral part of overall customer engagement process, where, for example, medical representatives should be fully aware about pull activities driven by head office. How to ensure that I'm aware around all emails, you know, which sent by our marketing team, and being in front of my customer, I'm able to react properly. Because from the perspective of individual customers, it is just one conversation with the pharmaceutical company. Another one, information in the company web portal should be aligned with the recent posts on social media. You know, it should be given, but it's not the case. All these small elements, they actually add complexity to back office operation and completely different impression around quality of engagement from the side of pharma companies. The second element, it is about, like I mentioned, different constraints around using paid advertising for pharmaceutical products, right? So we should focus on news-related content such as recent awards, acquisitions, medical news, and using social media to promote events such as webinars, congresses, roundtables. You know, this is all these elements. When you are sharing these insights, they sound so obvious, right? But complexity is pretty high because moving to multi-channel, omnichannel, overall complexity, you know, of the whole operation is getting quite high. And I can imagine that it is not only difficult for us to operate it in the proper way, but also for our customers. Therefore, we should invest a lot to be diligent with continuity of our engagement.
Thanks a lot, Alexey. I see that in the meantime, Adela also joined. You mentioned
I'm arriving on time for the end.
Well, this gives you the right to make a very good final, robust conclusion about the whole discussion and what are your key learnings and what are your, of course, opinions about this very, very crucial thing. So, Adele, you have a couple of minutes.
The whole discussion that I couldn't follow. So first and foremost, big apologies, big technical challenges on my side. So yeah, I couldn't unfortunately follow what the others have shared, but what I can share is sort of, you know, my stance and how our organization sees the importance of paid media. So first and foremost, I mean, we only need to put ourselves in our customers' shoes, whether it's prescribers or whether it's patients. They are consumers like us. And we know ourselves, you know, whenever we have the smallest question mark, before we even realize that we have a question mark, we are already typing it in Google, or we are already sort of searching, you know, in different forums on LinkedIn, or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. So from that perspective, it is a no-brainer, I guess, nowadays to focus on paid media. And if I had to give, you know, 5 tips in terms of how to maximize the leverage of paid media, I would say first and foremost, you know, maybe initial experiments would be a bit going all over the place, but ultimately we need to surgically target our customers in terms of where they are, on which paid media they are. Really build customer personas and target them. And I mean, the different channels have extremely good. Be it LinkedIn, be it Google Search Display, they have extremely good targeting capabilities, but we need to really leverage those. Second, I would say that also in initial maturity stages of leveraging paid media, you know, you would do maybe email marketing on the one side and paid media on the other side, and it would be non-orchestrated channels, whilst obviously our goal is to orchestrate as much as possible. Typically, what we're doing more and more is to use automated journeys where we target customers to, for example, via email first, and then on social media as part of the same journey, so that really the trigger-based interaction goes across channels, and very importantly, that we then also leverage those insights gathered, who reacted more to an email or who reacted more to a LinkedIn post, for example. Third, and again, I hope I'm not repeating too much what was said before, but third would be really to ensure that our content is adapted to each channel. I know that's not easy because especially in pharma and the regulatory processes that we have, so it requires evolving those. But overall, it does make a big difference. And again, the opportunities are really great, whether it's, Reels, carousels on Facebook, whatever the different opportunities are. But we have social media channels that are more visuals, others like Twitter that are more text. Generally speaking, we need to adapt. It's critical we adapt the content to these channels. Fourth, A/B test. So it's right. I mean, the channel can be a trigger for it matching or not matching our customers in terms of where they are. But then also the different visuals and reels or videos, whatever we use. I think we can benefit a lot from really A/B testing, so commercial experimentation in that sense. And the last point, the fifth point that I would have from my side is, and that applies to many things that we do, but to try to not do things just on our own, but to really look to partner for paid media campaigns, partner with be it medical associations, patient organizations, digital influencers, which, as we know, could be of different types. Partner with them because that really increases our voice and can make a big impact, and that's what then gets us to earned media, right? And that's the nicest, right? When others talk about us and our initiatives.
Certainly.
So those would be my few pennies.
Thanks a lot, Adele. I think that all of those are very good points. You didn't follow the whole discussion, but was very much aligned with the whole discussion. So our AAA speaker lineup, so Alexey, Adela, Alexandra, thanks a lot. It was really a great pleasure, and hear you very soon for another next opportunity. Take care.
Maybe then more on time. Thank you, Dario.
Thank you, Dario. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.
Take care.